So as we return for this last sitting, I want to reaffirm my commitment to all of you, my colleagues, to advancing the reform agenda of the Senate, the government, particularly on strengthening accountability, modernizing our institutions, protecting our citizens, and providing them with the enabling environment to thrive. Liberia cannot afford to continue with business, quote, business as usual, end quote, like the president told us in his inaugural address. Too many public-private partnerships operate in our country without due process and proper guidance. Too many public, private, and civil society organizations in our country have failed due to poor corporate governance. Too many families endure preventable deaths and injuries from healthcare providers without accountability. And we have seen a concerning rise in attacks on our police officers by citizens. We've also seen an increase in police shooting, resulting in deaths, highlighting safety concerns and potential underlying issues that this Senate should look into. For this sitting, colleagues, I hope to work with all of you on the following urgent priorities. Public-Private Partnership Act. Liberia has entered into numerous PPP arrangements over the last years, yet we lack a comprehensive legal framework to regulate them. This gap has created space for inefficiency and misuse of public resources. So I will be working with you all to introduce a PPP Act that establishes clear rules, enforces transparency, and guarantees value for money. I had the opportunity to work with former Pro Tem, our chair, as chair of an ad hoc committee that the Pro Tem put together to take a first look at the road concession agreement that the executive branch has drafted and is contemplating to do. Good idea. The attempts to address infrastructure deficits in our country, particularly in Liberia, our region. So that review process during our break with my distinguished colleagues, former Pro Tem Chair, Bati Kwa, Sir Joseph, and my own Professor Augustine Chair of the Judicial Committee. I came to discover that our public-private partnership arrangements were a big issue. For a big project like that, even though it's good in the country, we need to put in place a framework to make sure that Liberia gets value for money before we act on them. So this is the main motivation for me to work with you all on this. I will also be working with 14 other senators who have signed on a medical malpractice accountability act. Our citizens deserve safe and reliable health care. There's a lot of complaints that we're not doing much. But when you look at what this legislature has done on education and health care in terms of appropriations, we have done enough. Though we need to do more. And we need to hold our healthcare practitioners accountable now, particularly the health ministry, for the additional resources that we have given them over the last 2 years. Too many lives are lost permanently, and some are harmed due to negligence and malpractice. with no recourse for victims or their families. Last sitting, I worked with some of you, and 14 of our colleagues, plus myself from 15 counties, have signed on this bill. They advised that I work with the Liberia Medical and Dental Council to make sure that there's no duplication. We've done that. They have a provision in the Act that penalizes the doctor, but it's not strong enough to the level of medical malpractice penalization that should address the harm and the heartaches that family members go through. The other thing that is included in this bill is the rejection of patients in emergency situations in our hospitals. When patients come in emergency situation, they don't prioritize them, they demand that they pay for it before they treat them, and in the process they die. These are Liberian citizens, and every life counts in this country. So I look forward to working with you on that. On police reform and public safety, we've been talking about this in our chat. With Chairman, please, I'll go talk here for more than 3 minutes.
It doesn't sense.
We've been talking about I know these conversations are moving political control boxes, but this is serious. This is serious. For a post-conflict country, we need to address this, colleagues. We've been talking in our chat room, so we look forward to engaging our chairman and other colleagues on police reform and public safety. The trust between law enforcement and the public has remained fragile in our country for 22 years since our war ended. To strengthen it, we'll have to work together with the security sector in the executive branch, with our colleagues in the lower house, to fix this. I think together we can equip our officers with non-lethal weapons, such as pepper spray and de-escalation kits, that they can try first before they start shooting people. We need to push for an increase in budgetary resources for that this year. And also demand training. We should train our officers on how to engage them. Mr. Chairman, I'll be working with you and others on this.
Thank you.
And at the same time, working on public relations for our citizens, that it is wrong beating police in the street.
Okay.
This is illegal, this is wrong. And we should strengthen the law that will penalize people who will attack police, who are enforcing our laws.
Okay.
Budget credibility. Our first year here, we had some issues with the budget. I know my colleagues were laughing at me. I had the budget open on my arm. They said they meant he's still finance minister. And then I slowed down. But yeah, because you have to work with your colleagues. But it's glaring now that we need budget credibility. Why? Because when the IMF revises your growth numbers on the budget that you pass based on the original projection, then you know your budget is going to run into trouble. So it means that this Senate, I will be proposing that we do our separate budget hearing from the joint thing that we've been doing in the past. Mr. Chairman, raise the means. So that here in the Senate, as the elder house, we can scrutinize the budget, not to politicize it, but to make sure that it meets our people's needs based on our current reality. We can't force water out of rock. If we are going to grow by 5%, then we do our budget based on that growth projection, with the provision that when the growth number changes like it has done on us now in the last quarter of the year, then we can readjust it to make sure that there's not enough stress in the system. This is what I will be proposing to the Ways and Means Committee from the PAC side, so that instead of the joint thing we do before, we should work, and then here we spend some time to scrutinize it, constructively, with a constructive view ahead to make sure that we can meet our obligations. And then on that, I want to talk about the domestic debt that Senator Dillon has been advocating, and I thank him for his advocacy. The other report that was just released, which is an adverse opinion on the way we have managed domestic debt in our country, should claim all of us concerned here. That's a lot of money. So, in budget credibility discussions, we need to make sure that domestic debt management is highlighted in our budget discussion. And the PAC is going to convene a public hearing on the audit report so that the public is aware of what the Auditor General has shown us. On the national issue, the last thing I'll be working with all of you on is corporate governance. The President has submitted, I believe, a bill on SOEs. I was not here, but I monitor the first sitting, and it was read by the Secretary of the Senate. This is a good thing. Mr. Vice President, please convey our thanks and appreciation to the President on this. We need SOE reform. When the Finance Minister reports in his annual financial report that out of 15 SOEs, only 13 gave him a report. Only 2 gave him report, and only 2 contributed to the budget. That's the issue. I think we need to look at the President's bill. We need to welcome it with enthusiasm, but we also need to strengthen it so that the areas that are not included can be included. The NBA should be contributing to the paying dividend to the budget. FPRC should do more than 300,000. We applaud the Liberia Maritime Authority. What's going on at the FDA, a major economic sector, in the last 2 years? We don't know. So many SOEs are on the books, but we're not holding them accountable. And then finally, in my region, Western Liberia, we'll be working with the Western Liberia Legislative Caucus on our development agenda we submitted to the President, which the President has forwarded to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Finance to convene a roundtable so that we can begin to find ways to raise the resources for that. So I'll be working with the caucus group on that. I wish that I could stand here and really say the things that Senator Yantonia has said about road infrastructure in his county, about economic activities and so on. It's true. I went there. Nimba is thriving. They got some infrastructure, even though we need to do more there. And the population is there, the economy is there, people gravitate to work where they can make money. But I wish I could say the same thing for Western Liberia. Our roads are bad, our economy is sluggish. Senator Toyin, with all the respect, this is no political, prices in my part of the country have not changed. So our people, our people really want us to do that. So we'll be working with our friends on that one.
Go ahead, one time.
And then finally, my county, Babulu. Babulu County.
No, it's good to hear the issue that we address it as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Let them tell them that.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. We're not addressing my own.
In my county, Babulu County, it's unfortunate that expectations there have not been met in terms of the way we were expected to work together.
They are managing the expectation.
And we have serious governance issues there. I think we need to reconcile. I think we need to go back and reconcile and solve our problems in our country. So I'll be working with colleagues in our caucus see if we can go back home and sit down with our people so that we can, and sit down among each other and just trash things out. I support her. If where there's corruption, we need to fight it. The county approved during the CDC government, the last sitting there, to purchase yellow machines in our county. The administration then and the PMC purchased machines that cannot even come home. The superintendent comes in, exuberant and whatsoever, he cleans the machines from the port, and in the process, he's accused of taking $6,000 from the vendor as duty-free, as duty for something that was meant for duty-free. I need to say this because I haven't spoken about the issue in Buffalo. I want to focus on the big issue. So the $6,000 is the one that is in question about the superintendent by the LACC. It's not the $500,000 that the previous administration used to purchase defective machines for our county. So I support my sister in her call for accountability. The LACC has done its job. The matter is in court now, and we look forward to the speedy process. But the issue really is causing distraction for the county. And I hope to work with Senator Kane and others to reconcile our people. One of the things that I will be pushing through her and others and to you for national consideration is the reburial. Is the reburial. I'm finished. This is the last one. Is the reburial. No, it's the reburial of Isa Bosa.
You know why, right? Our president here.
Isa Bosa Kamara is buried right on the road. In the future, as the president is contemplating, and we are praying that we will build the road to Lofa through Buffalo County, that grave will be affected. So it's better. No, we can't go around the grave. We have to rebury it and hopefully make it a national site, because this is a national figure. So I'll be coming to you for your support on that. Mining. 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 Our rivers are polluted in Buffalo County. Lesson Man is issuing a lot of licenses just unrestricted to anybody in our county. We'll be working with you on that to curtail some of that, because it's degrading the environment and it's polluting our rivers. People are dying from it.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Mr. President?
Yeah, please.